For 47 years, humanity had searched Mars for life. Every rover found rocks. Every satellite found dust. Every experiment found chemistry. Nothing alive. So when the final Mars station was scheduled to shut down, nobody expected a discovery. Until, at 3:17 a.m., the station received a signal from beneath the planet. Not a radio transmission, not a seismic event. A heartbeat. Thump. Silence. Thump. Silence. Then the station's artificial intelligence translated the pattern. Only one word appeared. Waiting. The scientists thought it was a malfunction. Then, the signal changed. Something beneath Mars wasn't calling humanity by accident. It had been listening. And according to the station's calculations, it had been waiting for humans to arrive for millions of years. But when the scientists finally discovered what was beneath the Martian surface, they realized something terrifying. The creature wasn't waiting to attack them. It was waiting to be remembered. The Mars station was supposed to be empty within 72 hours. Dr. Elena Voss had spent 3 years there, studying the planet's ancient geology. She knew Mars better than almost anyone alive, and she had accepted one uncomfortable truth. Mars was dead. At least that's what the evidence suggested. The station's final mission was simple: collect the remaining data, shut down the systems, and send the equipment into low-power mode. Elena was preparing the final transmission to Earth when the communications panel suddenly flickered. A strange signal appeared. She froze. The signal wasn't coming from Earth. She checked the antenna. Nothing. She checked the satellite. Nothing. Then she checked the seismic sensors. Her expression changed. The signal was coming from below. She activated the station's AI, Lyra. Analyze this. The system processed the recording. A low pulse echoed through the speakers. Thump. Several seconds passed. Thump. Elena stared at the waveform. Is it geological? Lyra answered. No known geological pattern matches this signal. Her colleague Marcus entered the room. What's happening? Elena played the recording. Marcus listened, then laughed nervously. That's a heartbeat. It can't be. Why? Because Mars doesn't have a heart. Neither spoke. The signal repeated. This time Lyra detected something else. The pulses weren't identical. They were changing. Elena asked the AI to compare the intervals. A pattern appeared. 3 short pulses, 1 long pulse, 3 short pulses. Marcus stared at the screen. Is that intentional? Lyra replied. Probability of random occurrence, extremely low, 0.002%. Elena felt a chill. Something was producing the signal deliberately. She asked for its location. A 3-dimensional map appeared. The source was 4.6 kilometers beneath the station. Marcus shook his head. We don't have equipment that can reach that deep. We don't need to reach it. Elena looked at the signal. We just need to understand it. They spent hours analyzing the pattern. Nothing. Then Lyra made a breakthrough. The pattern wasn't simply repeating. It was responding. Elena had spoken near the microphone several times during testing. The signal changed after her voice appeared in the recording. Marcus stared at her. It heard you. Elena didn't answer. She leaned toward the microphone. My name is Elena. The room became silent. For 12 seconds, nothing happened. Then, thump. The signal changed. Elena's eyes widened. Lyra began translating the pattern. One word appeared on the screen. Waiting. Marcus stepped backward. That's impossible. Elena whispered. Ask it what it's waiting for. Lyra transmitted the question. Nothing happened. Then the entire station trembled. A new signal appeared. One word. You. Elena stared at the screen. Something beneath Mars had been waiting. Not for a spaceship, not for a government, not for a scientific mission. For us. And then the station detected movement. Something deep underground had started. Coming closer. The movement stopped 300 meters beneath the station. Elena and Marcus spent the next 6 hours trying to understand what they had discovered. They didn't call it an alien. They didn't call it an organism. Officially, it was still an unidentified subsurface phenomenon. But privately, Elena had another name. She called it the listener, because it seemed to respond whenever humans communicated. The team tested different sounds. A simple tone. The signal responded. A sequence of numbers. The signal responded. Elena spoke. The signal responded immediately. Then she tried something different. She played an old recording of birdsong from Earth. The signal stopped. For almost a minute, there was nothing. Then a completely different pattern appeared. Lyra translated it. More. Elena's heart sank. Play another. She selected rain, then ocean waves, then wind through trees. The underground signal responded to each one. It seemed fascinated by sounds from Earth, but there was something strangely sad about it. The creature had apparently never experienced any of them. Elena looked at the Martian landscape outside. Mars had once been very different. Ancient rivers had flowed across its surface. Water had existed. Perhaps life had existed too. But if this organism had survived all that time, what had it experienced? Elena asked Lyra to calculate its estimated age. The AI processed geological information around the chamber. The result appeared. Approximate age, 3.8 billion years. Nobody spoke. The organism could be older than complex life on Earth. It might have survived Mars' transformation from a wetter world into the cold desert they knew today. But then another question appeared. How? Lyra detected an underground network surrounding the organism. It wasn't just one chamber. There were thousands, but almost all were empty. The listener was alone. Elena finally understood the meaning of its first message. Waiting. It wasn't waiting for humans to arrive. It had been waiting for another living thing. Anything. For billions of years, it may have been alone beneath a dead planet. Elena sat beside the communication console. She began talking. Not scientific questions, not experiments, just stories. She told it about Earth, about oceans, rain, forests, birds, children laughing, people watching sunsets. She didn't know whether it understood the words, but the signal continued responding. Then something unexpected happened. Lyra translated a new message. Home? Elena's eyes filled with tears. She whispered, Earth. The signal remained silent. Then it answered, Home. Elena looked toward the Martian sky. Maybe the creature didn't understand Earth. Maybe it understood something more fundamental. A place where life belonged. Then, Lyra detected something else. A massive movement beneath the surface. Marcus rushed toward the console. What's happening? The underground map began filling with signals. Not one. Hundreds. Then thousands. Elena's heart stopped. The listener wasn't the only thing beneath Mars. But Lyra quickly clarified the data. The additional signals weren't living organisms. They were empty chambers, ancient structures, a buried civilization perhaps, or something that had once been alive. Then the listener sent its final message. Show me. Elena understood. It wanted to see Earth, not hear it. See it. And suddenly the mission changed. They weren't just studying the last living thing on Mars anymore. They were deciding whether to bring a message from Earth to a creature that had spent billions of years waiting for someone to answer. The scientists had one problem. They couldn't bring the creature to Earth, and they couldn't physically show it Earth. So Elena suggested something simpler. They would show it humanity. The station's communication system contained years of archived images and recordings. Earth from orbit, oceans, cities, forests, animals, families, the night sky. Elena created a single transmission containing all of it. Then she hesitated. What if it doesn't understand? Marcus looked at her. What if it does? Elena sent the message. For almost a minute there was no response. The underground chamber remained silent. Then the signal returned. Thump. A second pulse. Thump. Then hundreds of pulses. Lyra struggled to process them. The screen filled with patterns. Elena waited. Finally, the AI translated the message. Beautiful. Marcus smiled. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Then another message appeared. More. So she showed it everything. Human laughter, music, rain, snow, mountains, oceans, children playing, people helping strangers, people making mistakes, people forgiving one another. She showed the creature the imperfect parts too. Wars, loss, loneliness, death, because she wanted it to understand humanity honestly. When the transmission ended, the signal disappeared, for the first time since the discovery. There was complete silence. Elena feared they had lost it. Then Lyra detected a final vibration. It was different. The rhythm was slower, gentler, almost like a heartbeat becoming calm. The translation appeared. Not alone. Elena covered her mouth. After billions of years, the creature no longer believed it was alone. Then something even stranger happened. The station received a second transmission. Not from beneath Mars, from Earth. Scientists at Mission Control had received the data, but they had also detected something else. The underground organism had transmitted a signal back toward Earth. It contained no coordinates, no threat, no demand, only a sequence of sounds. Elena listened. Birdsong, rain, ocean waves. A faint Martian heartbeat. The creature had learned the sounds of Earth. And now it was sending something back. A reminder, a connection, a hello. The mission ended 3 days later. Ares Station was placed into permanent low-power mode. Elena and Marcus returned to Earth. But Elena never forgot the final transmission. Years later, scientists would debate what the creature actually was. Some would call it an organism. Others would call it an ancient biological intelligence. Some would say the signals had been misunderstood. But Elena knew what she had heard. A lonely heartbeat, a question, and an answer. Before leaving Mars, she had recorded one final message for the creature. She spoke directly into the microphone. My name is Elena. She paused. We heard you. The underground chamber remained silent. Then, thump. She smiled. Goodbye. Another pulse. Thump. And then the signal disappeared. Not because the creature had died, but because, perhaps for the first time in billions of years, it didn't need to call anymore. Someone had finally answered. And somewhere beneath the red surface of Mars, the last living thing waited quietly. Not for rescue, not for Earth, not for humanity to return. It simply knew something it had never known before. It was not alone.